Well, good evening and welcome to the night of nights in regards to the Jumps Racing Award ceremony, of course. And, well, I am really excited, looking forward to it. We've got the AJRA Championship Awards to get through. We've got the JJ Houlahan Championship Awards to get through, and also the Ground Staff Awards. It is a fantastic night, and I'll tell you what, Shane Jackson, as I say, a very good evening to you, Jacko. What an enormous jumps racing season it has been.
Oh, it's been magnificent. Competitors, horses, it's been as competitive a season as you'd see. All went away unhitched. There was no major dramas through the season, and very successful. And it was a broad range of success, I thought, which is great because I know the hard work that goes in behind the scenes, and all these. This is our night where we can sort of reward the people and the competitors that have put in all the hard yards that nobody sees when you just get there race day.
It's been an amazing season, and it was only 6 or 7 years ago, Jacko, when jumps racing was on its knees. But through the hard work and the passion of so many people, you included, the racing clubs, the AJRA have really worked tirelessly behind the scenes, and I just reckon it's culminated in one of the best seasons we have had. And I reckon jumps racing is back, and it is absolutely flying, and it's so good to see.
It is, and that's why we have the AJRA. They're always striving to get better, and they never rest on their laurels. They're just safety levels are just increasing every year with better jumps coming in, better riders, more education for riders. Yeah. The horses are getting educated better, and it's in leaps and bounds basically. It's just getting better all the time, and it's so exciting to see.
Now I have to ask you, you made that little comeback, the a la Johnny Farnham there for the May Racing Carnival. Are you missing it? You must have missed it throughout the season, Jack.
Yeah, you can't say you don't miss it, and I do. I miss the big days. But look, it was one comeback only. I'm not going to do it again. But yeah, it's hard watching on. But I've spoke to other sports people that have given up, and they say every year it gets a little bit easier. So no, I'm happy what I'm doing, and I'm just happy that I can still be a part of it in some little bit and do my bit for the sport. It was very good to me. Yeah,
absolutely. And what a season it's been. Some of the highlights for mine, Jacko, doesn't get any bigger. We love the Bull. We might be a little bit biased, but we feel like the Bull is the home. It's the spiritual home of jumps racing. And this year's carnival, it threw out some amazing races, and culmination, of course, of the big feature. Of course, the Grand Annual Steeplechase, and what a cracking race and what a cracking finish it was, mate. Gold medals and ZM. They were like two prize fighters, Jacko, weren't they? Getting over that last hurdle, and they bumped, and it was just fantastic racing.
It was unbelievable. It would make the hairs on the back of your neck stand, and how lucky we were that we had crowds. It seems so long ago we had crowds at the races, but we're just so lucky this year at May Carnival. It's the atmosphere that everybody loves. The riders love it. And we had crowds, and the racing was superb, and gold medals, ZM fighting it out again. It's just year on year they fight it out, and they're just two magnificent horses. And what really got me going at May Carnival was Brett Scott winning the Gallywood. He had that terrible accident early in the year, and he was lucky to pull through. And then for his horse to come out, he got it back to form and win the big race on the Wednesday. And you could see the emotion in both him, Kylie, and his daughter. It meant so much to them, and that was my highlight.
It was a great story, wasn't it? The Statesman, of course. The whole kind of week of jumps racing just threw up story after story. And you go back to the Scotty Stewart Briley, obviously a race that's pretty close to my heart. That is for sure. It's always a great race too, and this year was no exception. And Amy McDonald and Flying Agent, and we've all seen that vision, Jacko, and that last kind of couple of 100 metres, and the excitement and the passion from Amy, and she's just got such a love of racehorses, hasn't she?
She sure does, and she looks after them so well. They're part of her family, and you can see how nervous she gets before the race. And it was a family affair, Amy and Lee train the horses, and then Lee's brother Darryl rides the horse. So it was a huge family affair, and you've seen how much it meant to them after the race. And the Briley, it's one of those races. It's probably the fastest 2-mile run race of the year. It's so competitive around a tricky course that it always takes a real good horse to win it.
Yeah, my oath. Well, I'll tell you what, it has been an enormous season, and we have got plenty of awards to get through tonight. I'm really looking forward to seeing who took out the major awards here tonight. And we're going to start off with the Grand Staff Awards. Now, these awards are brought to you in partnership with Country Racing Victoria and E-Cycle Solutions, great supporters of jumps racing and great sponsors, and you can't have magnificent seasons like we have, Jacko, without those great sponsors.
No, you can't. Sandy McGregor and E-Cycle Solutions, they're huge supporters of ours in the jumps racing scene. Sandy owns some nice horses, and he's really passionate about jumps racing. He goes overseas watched it, and he's been a huge advocate for some of the jumps coming over as well, and he's helped us out magnificently, and he sponsors a lot of prizes for the likes of these awards, and especially I think a lot of time the jockeys get put up on a pedestal, but the ground staff would be nowhere without them. So it's really important that the AJRA have put on these awards for the ground staff, because they're the ones up at 4 o'clock every morning putting in the hard yards, and they don't get to stand up on a pedestal at the end and get all the plaudits when they win a race, but it still means just as much to them. So it's great that we've been able to put up some awards for the ground staff, and yeah, we'll go through them.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you just touched on Sandy McGregor, Mike Simons, people like that, Nick Rule. They kind of put their money where their mouth is, don't they? They support with financial support, but they also jump in horses, they jump in ownership, and that's what the industry is all about, Joe.
It really is, and it's so close-knit that we all get on very well, but without these sort of players, we'd be lost.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the Australian Jumps Racing Association would like to celebrate the hard work and enthusiasm of the participants by creating an awards program dedicated to ground staff. Okay, this is super important. Stable hands, strappers, they're an integral part of the Australian Jumps Racing industry. And, well, the Horsemanship is the first award that we're going to have a look at. This is to be awarded to a participant who has shown skill in horsemanship, either on the ground or while riding track work. The winning applicant will be awarded for their ability to work with horses with a focus on their care and well-being. This award also highlights the connection the staff member has to animals and their talent in the area of horsemanship, both on and off the track. And that is so super important. And, well, Jacko, without further ado, we need a little bit of a drum roll, mate. Can you give me a drum roll? The winner for 2021, and I reckon this is going to be very, very popular, is Kylie Scott. And I'll tell you what, that is absolutely sensational. And you just touched on it. What a season Brett and Kylie have had this year, the ups and downs of the racing industry.
That's exactly right. It's the ups and downs, and Kylie's the backbone there with Scotty. And when he had his accident, she had to take charge and train those horses. They didn't miss a day. I seen her turning up to the races day in, day out when Brett was still recovering. And then for her to get this award, she's obviously a very talented horse person in all regards, whether it be riding on the ground. It's not just a ground staff award. She can do it all.
Well, I tell you what, we've been lucky enough to grab Kylie via Zoom. And Kylie, how good is this?
Fantastic. I'm very humbled to have been nominated for an award and to actually win it. It was great.
And your passion, not just yourself, of course, your husband Brett, and the year that you guys have had, Kylie, it's been kind of onwards and upwards, hasn't it? It was an awful start to the year, but it's been magnificent since, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been fantastic just to see Brett get up to the stage that he's at so quickly, and having the horses all perform really well. Going from a great winter campaign with the jumping into the spring with a couple of handy horses is it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's super. As I said earlier on, it was one of my highlights of the season when you won the Gallywood here at Warrnambool. It made hair stand the back of my neck to see how much improvement Scotty had made to get there that day. And as I was saying before, like you sort of had to take over the reins when he was in hospital and recovering, but it just showed his grit and determination to get back on his feet so quick. And how much it meant to all of you guys, because you knew how close it could have been to being very bad, and it was very bad. But it just to see the passion, both yourself and your daughter and Brett that day, it put a lump in a lot of people's throat.
Yeah, it did, and unfortunately I had to stay home.
Oh, you were home.
That day I had to stay home and do the work.
You were doing the hard work.
Tyler, our daughter, she rides the Statesman all his work, so it was only fitting that she be there, and to actually have Brett there, being able to accept the accolades and everything on the day was absolutely lump in your throat stuff. And we got thrown in the deep end, but great support from everyone. We got through and just carried on, kept the wheels turning.
It was true hard work. I've seen plenty of Saturdays you were at the races, dragging in the horses on your own, and you were there and you were doing everything and having to deal with everything behind the scenes. It was a real credit to you, and that's, as we said, a very deserved winner of an award like this.
Thank you very much.
And I'll tell you, just talking about Brett, just the resilience of him. He's just a superstar, isn't he?
He is. He's our superstar. I know that.
Yeah. And what about yourself? Where does the passion for the racehorse come from for you? Like we obviously, we know Brett's ridden over the jumps for years and all that kind of stuff. But what about you? Where'd the passion start?
My dad trained, so I've been born into racing. My dad trained, and then my mum had to go at training, and I rode at the picnics for probably 6 seasons and was quite successful. I think I rode about 67 winners.
Wowzers.
Just didn't have the, my dad always said I just didn't have the grit to make it all the way, and it was probably a little bit too heavy, but I enjoyed my time there at the picnics, and I just love horses. Like, I really can honestly say that it is a real passion, and I couldn't imagine my life without them. And then to be fortunate enough to meet Brett and marry Brett and carry on and be successful watching him through his career, and then taking over the training, and, you know, with our small team getting the success that we get, it's very rewarding.
I think to give credit to the guys behind the scene that don't get to stand up on the pedestal every Saturday, I think they're the ones they're the cogs in the wheel that just make it keep rolling.
Absolutely. They do tend to go unnoticed a little bit, and without the behind the scenes people, it just wouldn't happen. They're the backbone of the industry, and to get some recognition is great.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brett's won numerous awards throughout his riding career. It's good for you to get one on the mantelpiece, Kylie. That is for sure in your own right. And congratulations. Really well deserved, and a really worthy winner. And what a sensational year it has been.
It has been. It's fantastic, and hopefully it continues. And I'd just like to thank eCycle Solutions and Country Racing Victoria for the great prizes. Fantastic.
Oh, beautifully done, Kylie. And, what a fantastic recipient, and well done. Great to catch up with Kylie Scott, of course. And now it is time to move on to the next of our awards, Jacko. This is the Excellence in Presentation on Race Day. This award focuses on the presentation of a horse and their strapper. Consistent care in presentation and turnout will be highlighted by those who nominate them. We encourage owners to watch and assess their horses and the way they turn out and look on race day while at the track, or via racing.com as well. You can watch them on the TV, which is absolutely magnificent, and it's an integral part, isn't it? You know, it's important that they come to the races and they look good, Jacko.
It really is. First impressions mean an awful lot, and if somebody just rocks up to the races and walks up to the mountain yard and you say, oh, look at that horse, doesn't he look magnificent? And you look at your form book, and you can really get a guide for a race off how a horse presents in the yard. You know, if somebody turns up and it looks tatty and whatever, it just turns you off straight away. So it'll encourage the punters in, but it's just having a bit of pride in your craft, I suppose. Yeah. And these strappers turn up, they present themselves well, and then you'll see them, they'll be grooming the horses, brushing their manes, make sure their manes are pulled nice and tidy, and they'll be shining when they go into the mountain yard. And it takes quite a bit of work, but it's lovely to see somebody who has pride in their work. So I think this is a very important award for somebody who turns out their horses in the best condition they can.
Absolutely. Well, let's go to the winner. Give me another drum roll, Jacko. You were good at it the first time. The winner for 2021 is Sophie Hurd. Congratulations to Sophie. And, same thing. We've got her via Zoom. And Sophie, as Jacko just mentioned, this is such an integral part of taking the horses to the races.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. As I said, I wasn't expecting it, so very happy.
And can I just ask, Soph, you've obviously got the passion, and you want to make the horses look as best as they possibly can. Have you got a little hidden background in maybe makeup or beauty or something like that?
No. Definitely not little of me. No, I suppose I grew up with show horses, so yeah. I've got that to thank there, yeah.
That answers the question.
Well, and we just touched on it though, didn't we, Jacko? Yeah. Henry Dwyer and the horses always present magnificently well in the yard, and Soph's the reason, or one of the reasons.
Yeah. I think it was Sandown Riding High where he won. He was the winner that day before he left the mountain yard. I seen him that day in the skin. He was gleaming, and I said to a few people, I said, geez, these horses look well. And I didn't know who was behind it, but obviously it's protocol that you turn yourself out well for the races, so you turn your horse out well for the races, and I think first impressions mean a lot, so it's full credit to you and a very deserved winner.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Can I just ask, so what goes into it? What are some of the tricks of the trade? What do you do to prepare a horse?
Look, we're very lucky. Their coats are kind of fantastic most of the time, especially those jumpers. A lot of time goes into preparing them, and I might wash them twice on race morning instead of once. And then they get a bit of coat spray and everything that we can to make them shine. And then the quarter markers go on, so I got my way with that one.
That's good. But you're playing it down a little bit. It's not always easy to have these jumpers looking well at that time of year. It's cold. They get a bit woolly. They go off in the coat. So it's don't play it down too much. Have them looking. They're getting around like they have their summer coats. And there's only one last piece to the puzzle you'll have to pass with Henry, and that's get the plaits in the mains, like overseas, like the overseas jumpers. Get 20 plaits down along their mane.
Be gentle with that one. We'll just ease him. But we've only just got the quarter marker tick of approval, so
that'll do. That'll be next season's job.
I reckon Henry would look her up with a couple of plaits. It is a little.
His hair is getting a bit long now.
It is too. Don't worry about that. Hey, what about some of the stable faves? I think of the Dominator. We just mentioned riding high. He's got some beautiful jumpers coming through. What are some of your favourite horses, Soph?
I think everyone loves the Dominator. Everyone loves him. Riding high, obviously, we all have such a close bond with him. Bud Fox is my all-time favourite. Nothing sort of tops him for me. But, those three, I think, are pretty much top of the list for everyone.
Yeah, very good. And wasn't the Dominator great this year? Didn't he give Willie McCarthy his first big day out this year in Warrnambool?
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, no, he's a great horse. But no, well done to you, and it's great to see somebody putting in that much passion and how they turn out their horses, because it's not all about how quick they can go. It's the main part of the puzzle, but it's great to have them looking well as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And Soph, obviously a few people you'd like to thank.
The whole team at Henry's, it's not one person behind little things like this. It's everyone. So I just make them look pretty on race day. It's everyone that puts in the hard yards every single day, and the sponsors of this, Country Racing Victoria, Australian Jumps Racing Association, for sponsoring the prizes of this. Everyone just plays a big part, so thank you.
Beautifully done. Sophie Hurd, the winner of Excellence in Presentation on race day. Let's move along to the next of our awards. This is Equine Welfare, Life After Jumps Racing. This is super important, Jacko. This award is dedicated to those who are passionate about rehoming jumps horses in their post-racing career. The nominees' commitment to the horses they care for both during its racing career and after will be the key factors for this award. And this is just as important as absolutely everything else we've spoken about already, because, we want to make sure the horses have a wonderful life while they're racing, but also after racing, Jacko, it's huge.
100%. These horses will need just as much care when they retire. They're magnificent animals. They provide us with a great source of entertainment and income and all of this. So for them to be doing that, we need to give something back. And these people that rehome these race horses, they deserve so much credit, because people can watch them on TV, but they don't know what happens when they're retired. So these people rehoming them to make sure they go to a good home where they're going to be well cared for, well fed. Some of them go on to careers in show jumping, eventing, all that sort of stuff. So it's a very good award, and it's great to see somebody that can win it that has provided such a good home for the horses that have provided so much for us.
Yeah, well, they've got a passion for the horses, passion for the industry. And the winner, give me another drum roll, Jacko. You're absolutely low flying, mate. I love it. The winner, and I'll tell you what, you're going to be pretty excited about this, because I reckon this young girl might work with you now, Cherie Wright, for 2021. Jacko, how good is this?
It's great. She's a great girl. She's a hard worker, and like I said, she turns up and she rides horses all day, but then she's happy to go home and ride and retrain some of these horses that are going to go on to other homes. So huge well done, Cherie, and thanks for everything you've done with the ex-race horses.
Well, we're going to get a chance to talk to Cherie now, because we've got her via Zoom as well. Cherie, what a fantastic acknowledgement of all the work that you put in with horses behind the scenes.
Yeah, it is amazing, and that we can get the recognition now. Yeah,
I was saying before, Cherie, it's very important, because these horses sort of give us so much in the industry, racing and great days out, that when they're retired, they're not sort of forgotten about. So it's a big part what you do, just taking them on board and rehoming them first, and then obviously retraining them and finding them suitable homes to go to.
Yeah, and to be able to experience them in their racing career and be able to have their life after jumps racing career, it's amazing to be able to do that too.
Now, Cherie, give us a little bit of a snapshot of your career. I think from memory you worked with Paddy Ryan for a long period of time. Now you're across with Jacko and Lindsey Smith.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you got involved and your love of racehorses.
Always been in love with horses. Mum's always had the horses, and Dad has had a fair bit to do with the racing, so that had a fair bit to do with it. And it's sort of just grown from there. Just keeps growing.
Sort of a natural progression, I suppose, Cherie, isn't it? When you're brought up pony club and it gets to the stage where you're in school and you're thinking about leaving school and you're still enjoying the horses so much. What's the next step? You can't to make a living out of it. I think it's sort of you've got into racing, and you obviously you were with Paddy Ryan, and he has the jumps horse and a few flat horses there. But it's been great since you've moved over to Lindsay's, and now there's potential for Cherie to go on and be an apprentice jockey down the track. So it's always that natural progression, but it's just still great to see that you're still looking after the ex-race horses too. Yeah.
It's to see the natural progression, it's good. And you're always learning, so you can always go to anywhere.
That's exactly right.
Now, I want to know, what's your favourite horse of all time?
Of all time? That's hard. I like them all.
Doesn't have to be a famous horse. It can be just a...
Good answer. I like them all. I love it.
Yeah, I like them all.
Super.
Hey, Cherie, obviously there's a lot of people you'd like to thank as well on winning this award.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Mum. She's been a massive part of it. Even Marley Horrobin for bringing it into being able to do it. Like, everyone that's involved is a big thank you to all of them. Everyone, I suppose.
Congratulations to Cherie Wright, and what a worthy winner, and well done to all the Grand Staff winners here, Jacko, because as we say, you don't have horses turning out and competing each and every week without the magnificent people behind the scenes, and that's what it's all about, isn't it, mate? Yeah,
exactly.
Now, let's move along. We're going to move along now to the AJRA Championships. Now, of course, this is the entire jumping season, okay, and this is based on the most wins in Vic and South Australia. Okay, so we've got the champion horse, the champion jockey, and also the champion trainer. So this year, Jacko, there were two winners, two horses that both finished on the same amount of wins, Saunter Boy and Social Element. And what the judges have had to do, they've actually determined the final winner by the most prize money. And that's how competitive this season has been. And the winner, give us a drum roll, big fella.
He's getting a bit old.
And the winner, it is getting a bit old, is Social Element. So congratulations. Social Element, of course, won the Crisp Steeplechase, the Moss Trooper. What a season this horse has had. And Jacko, correct me if I'm wrong, I reckon you might have rode this horse to break through maiden status.
Yeah, I did actually. I rode him, it would be 2 May carnivals ago. I won his maiden hurdle at his first start. He was a beautiful horse, and he was always, I rode a lot of lovely horses for Gay Waterhouse, and he was my pick at him early days. I thought he had a lot of potential, and he missed the season through injury, and he's come back this year, and Tommy Ryan took over the reins on him, and he's just gone from strength to strength. He won his maiden chase at Warrnambool, then he went and he won the Moss Trooper and won the Crisp after, and he wasn't disgraced into Grand National at the end of the season after a long season. Beautiful horse, great jumper, and we'll see another couple of good seasons in him. Did you think you'd get to this level, Jacko, when you rode him that day at the Bull? I thought back then, he was the biggest certainty going around when he went to his maiden hurdle, but that's only a maiden hurdle. They always have to step up and improve. But he was sometimes, and I reckon this season, the maiden hurdles have probably been one of the tougher races to win, haven't they? Because they've been so competitive. Yeah, there is this. It's such a great pool of horses. But this fella, he always had something about him, which I did. I thought he'd get to the top grade, but as I said, unfortunately, he missed the season through injury. So I wasn't on board, and then, as I said, now Tommy Ryan has taken over the reins, and he's just a beautiful horse, and it's great to see him win it. Yeah, he certainly had a magnificent jumping season, that is for sure. And we've got Gay Waterhouse. We're lucky enough to have the First Lady of Racing. Isn't she a ripper? You've rode plenty of winners for a Jacko. Gay Waterhouse, kindly enough to join us. Gay, you are so supportive of the jumps racing industry.
I love it, and I love it because everyone can have a go. You know, a lot of these horses are retired, or they might have, broken down and then gone off and rested for a year, and they come back. And because the jumps races are run at a slower tempo, the horses have really got a chance. Look at Social Element this year.
Yeah, and I said to Shane earlier, just the improvement of social element right throughout the season. It was just great to watch, wasn't it?
Really exciting. And it's great when they when they can win by the big margin. He got a very good turn of foot. Like as over the jumps, he's probably as good as the others, but he was a rising star. And when he hit the ground and he had to do that final sprint, he was able to have younger legs and sprint away from the rest of them. And boy, did he sprint away from them, didn't he?
He's a magnificent horse, Gay. I remember the first time I sat on him in a jumps trial. I loved him, and he was one of my favourites that I rode for you, and I was lucky enough to win on him at May and at Maiden Hurdle. And I always said, this is a future star, and unfortunately he had that season where he didn't race, and I was still riding, but then I hung up the boots, obviously. But he's a future star. But what I love about it, isn't it great to see what jumps racing can do to rejuvenate the likes of these horses? We've seen it with Runaway, seen it with Social Element. You know, they can just peter off a little on the flat, but they have huge ability. And then when they get the jump in front of them, and like you said, a slower tempo, they think they're superstars again, and it really sets a new lease of life on them.
Absolutely, Shay. And look, they give them such. That's exactly the word, a new lease of life. And it's so funny, one of the owners in horse you went on, he said, I don't like them jumping. I said, well, look, just watch them trial. And of course, he won by, I think, like 15 lengths. And he said, oh my gosh, that's impressive. I said, well, this is a whole new world. It's like appearing in Disneyland. And it's great if you think of a place like Warrnambool, the warm welcome we get every time we go down there. And we catch the train down every year, and everyone on the train is going to one place to go to the races for 4 days. And
if we get the crowds back next year, I reckon he could be the one, Social Element, he could be the one to come back to Warrnambool and go for the Briley. I know you've won it before, but he's sort of he's a horse that would fit that bill, wouldn't he? Running the Briley and even possibly back up in the Grand Annual, because he was still gallant in defeat in the Grand National at the end of the season.
Yes, he was. Yes, that's music to my ears. I love backup horses. Being married to a bookmaker for 41 years, the one thing that you do learn is that the backup horse races very well, especially over jumps or staying races. You would know when you're in your riding days. Often the horse that did back up was often the horse that was the hardest to beat.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, Guy, you've won Group 1 races all around the world, all around Australia. What makes jumps racing, so special to you? Why do you want to be involved in the jumps racing industry?
Well, I think what we said before, that it gives the horse a lease of life, and it gives the owner more, bang for his buck, that expression. Yeah. To think that they can have a 9 or 11-year-old. Look at that wonderful jumper in New Zealand. It's got a funny name, something Periwinkle or Twiddlywinkle or something. Yeah. Look at him at 11 years of age, and he's jumping like a 3-year-old. He's just gorgeous.
Hey, do you miss not having Shane Jackson in the saddle, Gay, this season?
Well, I was very surprised when he did hang up his boots, but I can understand. He's got a family to support, and jumps racing you're not riding all year round. John Allen gave up the jumps to become a flat jockey. It's only a shortish season, really. And, the dollars have to come in all year round when you've got... How many mouths have you got to feed there?
I've a few, including my own. three little boys.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, listen, I know there'd be a lot of people you'd like to thank, especially the team down here in Victoria. They do a wonderful job, got a great strike rate. You must be happy with the way the stable's firing.
Oh, absolutely. We get on very, very well. I was on Zoom time this morning, and I got onto that a bit quicker than I did with you boys. But, I look at the horses and Alva and Beau. They're just fantastic. And she cracks a very good whip, doesn't she, Shane?
She sure does.
She keeps it, yes. And that's what you need.
She has a good master, Gay.
I think it's very important when you're running a stable. I think it's essential that there's attention to detail. Yep, and if I throw the ball at Alva follows it through 110%. And Beau's just marvellous. He's riding them, and he's great when they're at the races, and he's very eloquent. And I'll tell you, he's a very mean hand at filming. We have some beautiful footage of the horses.
He does a great job, Bowie Dunn, that is for sure. Hey, Gay, I've got to ask you, you're sitting in front of a magnificent library. What's the go-to books there behind? What do you like to sit back and indulge in?
Oh, well, this really takes a lot of my time. And when COVID came, I thought, well, I'll wait till it's all over and so one can have a normal life. And so I'm sort of a bit like Lloyd Williams at Mount Macedon. You know, I'm here at Alpine, just out of Sydney, near Mittagong in New South Wales. And I'm on Zoom and I'm looking at the horses. And I help Adrian with all the programming and booking the jockeys, as Shane knows. And I talk to the jockeys on race day, and I'm also able to spend time with my grandchildren. So I've got a lovely, lovely mixture of my life. It's good.
Brilliant.
It is just wonderful to have, trainers like Gai Waterhouse and Adrian Bott really supporting the jumps racing industry, Jacko. That is magnificent, and she just loves it. She's got such a passion for it, hasn't she?
She does. She loves it, and I sort of found it hard to believe until I started riding for her. But for a trainer of her stature, she takes great passion into jumps racing, and she'd be on the phone every time you trial a horse, race a horse. She'd have the form done, and always want your opinion after what she could do to improve it. And great supporter of jumps racing, and it's great to have names like that involved in jumps racing because it puts it on the big stage. Yeah,
absolutely, and she always gets down to the bull as well. She loves it. She loves the week. And congratulations and well done to Social Element. What a season it has had. Let's move along now to the champion trainer, the AJRA champion trainer for season 2021. And I'll tell you what, hard to go past these boys. The winner, Kieran Maher and David Eustace. And I'll tell you what, Jacko, that final day up at Ballarat, I was lucky enough to work up there. And the Maher-Eustace combination, they trained the first 5 winners and they didn't have a runner in the 6th race. But that was just unbelievable. What a great training performance and what a season that they have had.
It's unbelievable. Look, these boys can train sprinters, stayers on the flat and unbelievable at training jumpers. And Kieran has a great background in jumps racing. It's what he started off doing, and he's a great passion for it, which is great to see for trainers who are so successful now, that they keep that passion for jumps racing. But to train 5 winners on the card, it's amazing. You nearly think it couldn't be done, because these horses, they take so much preparation, keeping them sound, keeping them right, and having to turn up on the day cherry ripe and just win as they did. It was a magnificent achievement.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of those features include Sauna Boy in the Kevin Lafferty in Australian hurdles, Norway in the Brendan Dreschler hurdle, Will John in the Grand National hurdle. Just some fantastic racing all year. And that jumping team that they're putting together, they are just a formidable combination. And they've got some exciting horses coming through for next season, Jacko.
Unbelievable. I think I gave up maybe a season or two too soon because I was lucky to be a small part of that team. But no, they're just going from strength to strength, and these good stairs that they swap from the flat back over jumps, they're a force to be reckoned with.
Well, let's go to the Zoom now and let's talk to the champion trainer himself in Kieran Maher. And Kieran, congratulations, fantastic achievement, mate.
Just the whole jump season on a whole, we were lucky enough to have Warrnambool crowds there. I don't know how we've done that this year, but just slotted in there nicely. I think the AJRA have done a great job with and Sandy McGregor with the jumps. I think they're always improving and evolving, and I think the statistics reflect that everything's going the right way there. And there were some really good races, some really dingers like the annual and a host of other races. Oakbank was great. And even right down to the last day at Ballarat, there was I suppose it was a good day for us, but it was just a really good day. It was such a shame we couldn't have crowds there. I'm sure it would have been a dinger.
Yeah, so obviously I'm retired and watching from the sidelines this year, but what do you reckon? What was your highlight of the season? I know the Grand Annual's one you always strive to win. We didn't get it this year, even though I made a once off comeback. But what was your best jumps win of the season in your eyes?
The best jumps win was without a doubt Will John in the Grand National. It was always a targeted plan to take him in there on a lightweight, get him in on the minimum, He'd already been out to that trip in Jericho, and he just seemed to, even though he's a very big horse, he just seemed to always find the right spots. Just one of those horses that got an uncanny knack of doing that, even though he is a big horse going over hurdles. So when I first started jumping him, I thought he might have wanted the bigger fence to really find his niche, but he really hurdled well, and he couldn't have been more dominant in his 3 runs, actually. So, yeah, the National is the highlight.
It's great to see, like, obviously now you're a bloody rock star of racing, like you're training winners left, right and centre, Group 1s, sprints, long distance races, jumps races, but you still have that passion for jumps racing. I remember coming out here, I'll probably show my age now, it could be 12 or 14 years ago, and you probably only had 3 or 4 jumpers in work, and that was where you started. And I think I wrote a winner for you at Casterton one day. You had me out on the beers the night before in the Whalers till about 1 o'clock, and we rocked up pretty seedy, but we got the job done. But you still go back to your roots and still get as much enjoyment out of the jumpers as you do the big days on the flat.
Yeah, that horse was called one sandwich short, I think.
Yeah, might relate to us quite right.
And no, the jumpers, obviously riding over jumps, and I just always had a real passion for it. And yeah, it's great. I had a bit of a lean year with them last year. I didn't have that many horses, and the stable was sort of going through a lot of change and expanding. So great this year. We had a really good arsenal, Australian bloodstock sent a couple down that, Saunter Boy and Milani, that, held their hand up all year. And we had a good influx of Kiwi horses come over. But when you talk of that word passion, obviously, like you touched on, I've got a big stable now. And, there's no one more passionate about jumps racing than my brother Deck. And he's a massive part of the jumpers and the stable in general. But, yeah, I'd really like to thank him. And the passion really shows through, just those little 1%ers, are never missed. And to the whole team, horses like Bit of a Lad, they've been, he was with Darren Weir and been in that Ballarat stable for so many years now. The staff have got such such passion for the horse, and respect. And it's just great to see them come back year in, year out. And, yeah, I can't thank the staff enough. And all the riders, the jumps riders. You've hung up the boots this year. Well, you say you have, but yeah, all the riders, they do a great job. And, Willie McCarthy has been a huge part of this season for us and the stable and the jumps. So I'd like to thank him and also Steve Pateman. I think we kicked off together over there at Lindsay Park, and I'm just fortunate enough to be great with him, and he just keeps delivering. He's the most driven person, one of the most driven person I've met. So his wife got him screwed down this year, Jess, and he had a great season. So congratulations to him also.
Yeah, I tell you what, you've had a magnificent season, and you're the leading trainer in the country at the moment, the leading jumps trainer. And I have to say, mate, any chance we can get the old internet fixed up? Where are we calling you today, mate? Because we are having a few little technical issues. We can hear you, but we can't see that magnificent mop of hair.
Oh, right. I'm actually in the office at Caulfield. It is a bit of an old house. There must be... I'll have to go out and give the bloke a drink of water that's pedaling the push bike to fire the Wi-Fi up.
Well done to Kieran Maher, David Eustace, and of course we mustn't forget his brother Declan, who does a wonderful job out of those Ballarat stables as well, especially preparing those jumpers. And just what a season the Maher Eustace team have had. Let's move along now to the champion jockey. Jacko, how many times have you won this?
I won the Tommy Corrigan twice, and probably the AJRA Championship was just the once last year. But no, it's a big thing to win it. You set out at the start of the season, you want to win as many races as you can, but you want to get a bit of a highlight at the end, and that's by winning the title. And and nobody's going to say that they don't want to do it, because it's what you strive for when you're a sports person. You want to be on top, and it's a huge privilege to get presented an award like this from the AJRA. So.
Absolutely it is. It's what you strive for, that is for sure. And gee whiz, I reckon this bloke's had a sensational season. I reckon he's won it a few times before in the past too. I think about 22 winners for the season, which is just absolutely magnificent. And our winner for 2021 is none other than the Professor, Stevie Pateman, and he joins us via Zoom now. Sparky, what a sensational season you've had, mate.
Yeah, it's unreal. Thanks very much.
Mate, how does this rate in regards to, you've had some wonderful seasons over the journey. Where does this one rate, big fella?
Oh, it's right up there, just because, I had a few years I wasn't at the top, so it's just good to be back at the top after so many years. So very special, that's for sure.
That's what I touched on that earlier on. I just, for a champion, you've been champion for that many years, and then there was a couple of years where your weight sort of went against you, and you weren't able to take rides in all the races, and there was a few of us that were able to do the lightweights, and we were lucky enough to reap the benefits of your heavier weight, I suppose it is. But it must give you a huge kick to get back on top, because champions are defined, but to come off the pedestal and then be champion again, it's a huge task, and it's probably why I gave up, because I wasn't brave enough I had 2 years where I finished on top, and I said, I'm going to pull the pin, because I don't know if I could get beat again and come back.
Yeah, well, look, that's very well put. Thanks for that. And yeah, look, it just going to the races feeling good and really enjoying it again too, so it's just been huge, and just very grateful. And
that's the biggest thing about it, isn't it? Like riding over jumps, it's obviously high risk, as we all know, but you need to, it's a passion, and you enjoy it. And if you're not enjoying it, you probably shouldn't be doing it. So to be going to the race, enjoying it, and not thinking about, I've had to lose 5 kilos to get here, and it
becomes a chore.
It becomes a chore, exactly right. And to be doing it healthy, that's sort of sparked you up again.
Yeah, well, like, the turning point was right at the beginning of the year. I didn't even win the race. It was just, I was riding good old Vitaglio, who's a great jumper, for Muzzy, and he had a bit of weight. He had like 71 or something, so I wasn't wasting too hard, and he ran 4th. And after that race, I just thought, I just love doing this, so let's get the weight down and have a big season. So that was the turning point, that first ride of the year.
I have to ask you, and I know we've spoken about this before, but I know your beautiful wife, Jess, has been an integral part of the team, and just getting that weight under control, and the diet and all that kind of stuff. Like I've seen the Snapchats, and I've seen, what you've been eating and the work you've been putting in right throughout the season. It's been a big part of it, hasn't it, Sparky?
Yeah, she studied sports science, and the diet, the food that she had me on was good. Like, it's little eye fillet and broccoli and stuff. It's not even bad, It's like, I was just so stubborn. I used to do it my own way and just stop eating 2 days before I rode and sweat, and I was just stubborn, and that's how I've always done it. But Jess had me eating dinner the night before racing, so just great.
By the looks of it, she's upgraded the eye fillets to tomahawk steaks since the off season. Tipping you've piled a few kilos back on.
Yeah, we just went to Lawn for the weekend. So it's only 45 minutes from home, but we had nice restaurants there, and so
you have to enjoy. You have
have
enjoy
kind
it.
of a really busy 6 months, isn't it? And it's hectic, and it's you got to keep that weight under control, and that you kind of need that little bit of a release at some point in time, Sparky. And then what do you want to get to before the start of next season? Where do you sit to be happy? Do you come back and you think, if you start the season at 75, you're going to strip that weight off comfortably? Where do you feel comfortable?
Well, I strangely look forward to doing it all again, and just I don't think I won't get as heavy this summer. We've decided that, and we'll just look after myself over the summer, and hopefully there won't be too much to lose at the beginning of the year.
What was your highlight too, mate? You had plenty of them, plenty of winners throughout the season. What's the one that really stands out that give you the biggest buzz?
Just the 4 winners at Pakenham for sure, because I'd always wanted to do that, but I just thought I'd never get the chance, and And that was definitely the highlight for sure.
It's an incredible achievement. Like, not many people, you'll ride doubles, plenty of jockeys will ride doubles, and the odd jockey will ride a treble. And, you know, you might see on the flat, you'll see plenty of jockeys riding 4 winners of a day. But like, we jumps racing, there's only, what is there, 80 jumps races in the season.
That's
to ride
right.
4 winners on a card is, it's unbelievable. And yeah, it's just, yeah, it's an incredible achievement, and it's an award that's truly deserved because of your performances this year.
Thank you very much. No, I appreciate it. And obviously, to do it all, mostly for Kieran and Dave and Declan, that was very special too. So.
Steve, obviously a lot of people you'd like to thank, mate.
Yeah, look, top of the list is my wife, Jess. I'm so grateful for everything she's done throughout the year, and just helping me with the horses and the weight and everything. So very grateful for that. Kieran, Declan, and Dave, and the whole team at Kieran Maher Racing, they're unbelievable. What a powerhouse they are, and just so professional and just great to ride for. And they've got some exciting horses for next year too. And all the other jumps trainers, like they're just such a great group of people. They just would look forward to seeing them all every time there's races, and they're just special people. And the AJRA, they've just keep getting bigger and better, the AJRA. And when I say bigger, just more relevant, and it's just a really well run association now, and big thank you to them. Thank you.
Yeah, well done to Stevie Pateman. What a sensational season he has had. Let's move along to the next of our awards, and it's the Champion Claiming Jockey for season 2021. And this is a relatively new award, Jacko.
It is, but it's a very, very important one, because we need to encourage young people to get into jumps racing, to start riding. And there can be huge value for a claim. You know, if you get a 3 kilo claim in a 2 mile race, it can be a big thing. So yeah, this award has been presented, and it's just a great initiative. And hopefully, as I said before, you strive to be champion jockey, but when you're starting, it's not going to be realistic for the first couple of years.
Spot on.
It's like your champion apprentice. So you strive to be the champion claimer in your first couple of seasons, and then you go from there to be champion jockey, and it's a great award.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And wouldn't it be great to see maybe some past jockeys, kind of remembered? And I'm talking about Brett Scott, Craig Durden. They're kind of a couple that come to mind. Maybe name the award or something after them.
Yeah, well, we
good,
could. Most of them have a name, so that's definitely something we're thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the winner, the champion claimer for 2021, and I'll tell you what, this young lad had a fantastic season. First season in the jumps riding ranks, and the winner is Aaron Mitchell. And tell us a little bit about Aaron, Jacko, because he's got a burst onto the scene and done a magnificent job this year.
He surely has, but Aaron's a very accomplished rider, or he was on the flat. Aaron won a Kalgoorlie Cup and up in WA and rode a lot of winners. So there you have somebody who can come and switch his craft over to jumps. He rides out for Paddy Payne, has learnt a lot there, and he's very good at riding a race, and now he's improving his skills over the jumps. And it was seen this year, he gave some horses some really good rides. He didn't look like a 3 kilo claimer, and there you have your value. Like I was saying, if you can get a horse and get Aaron Mitchell to take 3 kilos off it, you're ahead already. Yeah,
absolutely you are, and we're lucky enough to have Aaron on Zoom now. And Aaron, what a magnificent debut jumps racing season for yourself.
Yeah, it was better than expected. Things started off pretty well at Warrnambool when I had my first ride, and I never thought I'd ride that many winners for the season, and I'm very honoured to be presented this award today.
Yeah, it's a great. I think it's a great initiative. You know, you sort of encourage claimers coming through. Obviously, you've had a good career in the flat. Going back to when I think you won a Kalgoorlie Cup on Cougar Express. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So you've obviously the race riding experience, but it is totally different when you swap over to jumps, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You really have to be patient, and you sort of do have to, time your run a little bit, and that sort of thing. So, and even just reading a jump, that was something I never knew, and I've just slowly progressed over the last couple of months, learning out at Paddy's.
Aaron, what brought you to Victoria, mate? Is it just opportunity, and did you always have aspirations to get over the jumps?
Yeah, look, I was sort of getting to the point with my weight in Perth that was it was a bit of a struggle, and I had a bit of a break, and I give it another go when I come here, but it was just too hard for me. And I started working at Paddy's, and jumps racing wasn't something, I was really known, like I didn't really know much about it, but I wasn't sort of ever going to ride over the jumps. It was just something that slowly come up working at Paddy's.
That's great. And what do you think, like some people maybe use it as a means to an end, but are you excited about jumping going forward? Do you think you can see yourself riding for numerous seasons? Because as I was saying to Maddie, like you're already making a name for yourself, and you have that race riding experience behind you, and you could be one of the big players in a couple of seasons' time. You'll probably fly through your claim, and yeah, you can be up there with the top boys in the next couple of years. Is that the goal, or is it just see where it takes you?
Yeah, just sort of see where it takes me. I initially just wanted to give it a go because I thought I was pretty young and the opportunity was there. So I sort of just taken each sort of season by season, I guess. And, it'd be nice to be able to win a feature. So I'd probably have to keep riding until I win one of those.
Can I ask you, you're one of the, because not every jumps jockey rides on the flat and that as well, but what gives you more of a buzz? You've won some feature races on the flat as well. What gives you the bigger buzz, mate?
Yeah, definitely riding over the jumps. It's, it's pretty exciting if you're not scared, I guess. But it's a pretty good thrill when you get one that's a really nice jumper and it gets over those steeples very cleanly and especially winning, obviously. But, you run third and second in some of those races and you just come in and it's an amazing feeling. And, it's quite hard to explain, but it's very exciting.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate, congratulations on a fantastic first season over the jumps. Obviously, there'd be a few people you'd like to thank.
Yeah, exactly right. Firstly, I'd just like to thank Patrick Payne and all of his staff at home. They do a wonderful job preparing their horses. And, he's taught me a lot about jumps racing, and a big thank you goes to him. Also, I'd like to thank, Steve and Jess. They've been a big part of, my career so far, and they've given me an opportunity on their horse, Historic, who's gone to win 3 races, and looking forward to partnering up with him again if I can keep Steve off it. But obviously my family, they weren't really big on me riding over the jump, so it's pretty new to them. And I'm very thankful for their support.
Yeah, well done to Aaron Mitchell, and as I said, just a ripping young, I shouldn't say young, he's got a bit of age on him, hasn't he? But just a ripping lad that seriously, he's just had a sensational first season over the sticks, that is for sure. Let's move along now to the JJ Houlahan Jumps Championship. Okay, now, Jacko, this was first introduced way back in 2006 as a series encompassing the 16 Premier Jumps races conducted in Victoria and South Australia. The JJ Houlahan Championship celebrates the champion jumps horse, the trainer and the jockey, who each accumulate the most points from the 16 featured jumps races. And the featured jumps races are run between April and August across Victoria and South Australia. And they all carry a minimum of prize money of $100,000, Jacko. So these are the best of the best. Mm-hmm. And what a great and what a champion horseman was JJ Houlahan. And isn't it great to remember one of the legends of the sport?
It surely is. It's a great award, and you'll always know the winner of this award has made a bit of coin during the season, because you could be champion jockey by riding lots of winners. But this is the point tally from all the good races, so they're the ones everyone wants to win, and it's a very, very important prize.
Well, you actually won this award in 2020, so your pockets are absolutely chock-a-block for the sense of that, Jacko.
They're empty already.
But so last year's winner, of course, yourself, and let's go to this year's winner, and the champion jockey in the JJ Houlahan Championship goes to none other than the Professor, Stevie Pateman, and we keep touching on it, but he has had a magnificent season, Jacko.
Unbelievable. He's back on top. Not that he was ever off top, but there was a couple of seasons where things got a bit competitive. And
let's be honest, you had his measure for a couple of seasons.
No, definitely not. There was a few others. There was Johnny Allen in there, and but Steve's weight has always been a bit of an issue. He's a big fella, whereas this year he's really knuckled down. He's got the head down. He's working very hard. Yeah. He has the weight back down. He's riding. I wouldn't believe it at the start of the season when he was going to ride 65, 66, and he's done it all season. So it's a huge effort to him, and it's great to see him back on top. He dominated here for a lot of years. like I said, he didn't go off the scene, but his weight just got against him, so
Yeah.
he wasn't available to ride in all the races that he once was. So it's good. It's good to see a champion back on top.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, we've already spoke to him once, but we're going to grab him again. And Stevie, another award, another trophy for the cabinet, mate.
Beautiful trophy too. So thanks very much.
And JJ Houlahan, we know how much of a legend he was in the jumps fraternity for such a long period of time. Must have been something pretty special to win an award like this, Stevie.
Yeah, absolute legend. Inspiring trainer. He had a few rides for him and used to have to go, every time you rode for him, you had to go school the horse before you rode it. Yeah, he was amazing. Like, those horses were so fit and just an absolute legend of the game.
So like I was saying before, being leading jockey is great. It's what everyone strives to be. But to win the JJ Houlahan, it's the point system for all the good races, you know. So it's what you strive to win. You know, you can win all the maiden hurdles but not win a good race. But the best jockeys strive to win the top races. They're worth the most money. They're the features. They're on the big days. So to win both, the JJ Houlahan, it really puts the icing on the cake, doesn't it? Because you're in the limelight. They're the races. They're the grade ones. They're the races that every jockey wants to win. From when you start out, you work your way up through winning your normal races. But when you're at the top, they're what you aim to win every season.
Absolutely, yeah. No, you hit the nail on the head there. It's just from Oakbank right through to Ballarat at the end of the year. All those big races, they're what we're thinking about all the time, and which horse they're going to ride, and hope that we've got a good horse to ride. And that's exactly right. Yeah, they're very, very special.
You make a plan, don't you? You win a maiden hurdle on a horse, and you think this could be a Briley horse next year, or this could be a Grand Annual horse in 2 years' time. You know, you make a plan, and that's...
And you kind of got to pick your horses too, don't you? You know, you got to map out the season ahead, and you know which ones you want to get on for those feature races. So it's there's a bit of an art form to it, isn't there, Stevie?
Yeah, that's what Jacko says, and what you say is dead right. Like one of the beautiful things about jumps racing, you could be schooling a horse for the very first time, and you're like, wow, he's so exciting, or I want to win the Grand Annual on this horse in 2 years, you know, like that's how you think, you know. It just starts from there, and it's what we all think and hope and dream about. Yeah.
And when you win the JJ Houlahan, big fella, the prize money's pretty good. So you would think that after winning JJ Houlahan, you could probably have a new shirt than the one you wore for the Tommy Corrigan ceremony. I just noticed it was a very similar shirt.
It's a different shade colour.
There's no way anyone will notice.
Hey, mate, you've got to get a couple of wears out of it. Don't worry about that. No. Hey, from memory, I reckon you won 22, 23 races throughout the season. There's about 80 races. So 1 in every 4, roughly, you are winning. That is an amazing stat, Stevie.
Incredible stats.
Yeah, that was unreal. Look, just great to get the opportunities and being fit and healthy, and it's amazing. Yeah, just special year, that's for sure.
And looking forward, you know, like Kieran and Dave and Declan, their stable, it's going from strength to strength, and to be the main player in a powerhouse stable like that, it's something every jockey dreams of, and that's what keeps you going. That's what you strive for in the next season. And like Steve is a senior jockey at this stage, not senior, but like, you know, has been riding for plenty of years. But you're going to keep going while a stable like that has the horses, the ammunition they have. You're that pumped for next season that you keep going, don't you?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. It's so exciting, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it is wonderful, mate. What, obviously, you know, we heard from you earlier. What do you want to say to wrap it up? Because it's so exciting, isn't it, Sparky, to see the industry flourishing and booming the way it is. Really competitive season. There's some great riders coming through. There's some up-and-coming riders. It all bodes well for a really awesome 2022, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're look, and to touch on the riders, the riding group, just a great bunch of blokes, and look, they've all been thanking me for, I like to as you say, Jacko, a bit of a senior role, and they've all been, I've been like helping him out a bit, and as you do too, Jacko. So I think that's really healthy and great for the sport.
Hey, Stevie, what are you going to put in it, mate? You going to fill it up with something or what?
Oh, yeah, we'll find something. I don't know.
I reckon Jess will have the champagne on ice. She loves the old champers that way. Hey, congratulations. A magnificent season for yourself personally, mate, and can't wait for next year.
Cheers, boys. Thank you very much.
Well done.
Cheers.
Yeah, well done to Stevie Pavement on an absolute magnificent season, that is for sure. He's taken a couple of awards here tonight, and congratulations to him, and well done to the whole family, to be honest. It's a team affair with Jess and all the crew. They absolutely love it, and so they should get the rewards because, as we said, just a magnificent season from Sparky. Let's move along now to the JJ Houlahan champion trainer, and of course, the 2020 winner was none other than the jumps guru himself. He's a legend in his own right, Eric Musgrove, Jacko. He's just a ripper, isn't he, Muzzy?
He is, and Eric Musgrove would have won this award for many a year, I'd say. You'd struggle to find too many years in the last, I don't know, would it be 15, I suppose, that his name wouldn't be on the trophy. I know every year since I've been here, he's always been up there, so he's a huge supporter of the jumps racing scene. You know, most trainers would have a handful of jumpers, whereas Eric would have a stable full of them, and he doesn't just strive for the big days. You'll see him at Murray Bridge in those tracks when they're struggling to get a field, and Eric will be there. He's everywhere, and he drives up and down the road relentlessly to jumps trials, jumps races, and he's been a worthy winner for the past however many years.
Absolutely. Muzzy's just an absolute legend, that is for sure. But the 2021 winner, and it's hard to go past this team, that is for sure. Kieran Maher and David Eustace have taken it out. And when we touched on it earlier, they have just had a sensational season, rewarded with another trophy.
Yeah, that's what I say. Look, they're a force to be reckoned with this season and oncoming seasons with the ammunition they have there, and a great team around them with Kieran, Dave and Declan, who's very passionate about his jumps racing as well. So yeah, very worthy winners. Yeah,
we've got Kieran Maher via Zoom once again. And Kieran, your passion for the jumps racing industry, you just love it. You've loved it since a young boy when you were riding over the sticks yourself. It's just unbelievable, and to be sitting here and winning awards like this, it's a special moment, isn't it?
No, thank you. It's great to be here, to have such a great year, and there's, as we touched on before, there's such a host of people that make the whole stable come together, and I suppose outside of the stable, a host of people like the AJRA that bring the whole season together and keep improving it year in, year out. I see there's more prize money being injected in this year. There's some new jumps coming, and it's passion of everybody. Jumps racing people that's just what they are. They're very passionate, and it shines through. And I'm just very fortunate, one, to have a stable and with the quality of these jumpers, and a team that's equally as passionate to help us get them there on the day.
Can I just ask here, and have you seen a season like we've just had? It's just been so competitive, I've kind of mentioned it a couple of times, but to win a maiden, hurdle or steeple, it's not an easy thing. They're probably often the hardest because they're so competitive, aren't they? There's some great horses coming through.
Yeah, there is, and the level just keeps rising. You see a heap of a lot of the maiden hurdle races this year were divided. Which is, great for the future, and I think with the improved jumps and, there's a lot of, education being put into the riders and stuff like that. I think the pool of jumpers is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger because they're retiring sounder. But they also finishing the season sound, so there should be more and more next year. And like you said, the quality is very deep. I remember we kicked off Saunter Boy last year. He's a near 100 raider on the flat. And this year, at the end of the season, we kicked off Razier 10. I think he ran in a South Island Guineas. as a younger horse. So yeah, there's I see a lot of the other stables have you've got to have a decent horse these days.
You really do, and I've seen that for the last few seasons. Like these slow horses, they're not. There's a place for them, but you need to get them steeplechasing probably as quick as you can. But the quality of flat horses coming through has been great, and I suppose like this award is the Houlihan Award, and you could be leading trainer, winning maiden hurdles and 120 hurdles, but these are the races you aim for to get the points in these Houlihan feature races, and you've obviously won it this year. You've had some great feature horses, but that's where you make a plan for, don't you? From season to season, you have these nice maiden hurdlers coming through, but then you pencil in they're the race you want to win, and it's just obviously a huge achievement to win one, but to win both is great.
Yeah, it is. And I'm very honoured to win this award in the name of Jim Houlahan. I was fortunate enough to go down to his stable at Rye and work for him whenever I was coming back from injury. His foreman was Shane Stockdale. I was great friends with him, and I must say he's had a big impact in the way I train. He was such a master horseman, and obviously why this award's in his honour. It's very humbling, and I'm very proud.
I reckon you're pretty proud of your brother too, mate. Declan, he's come on in leaps and bounds. He's running the Ballarat stables for you. He's got a keen passion and interest in the jumps racing. You must be really proud of the job he's doing, mate.
Yeah, well, Dak and myself, we kicked off from Warrnambool, and he was running the Warrnambool stable when we started with the small stable in Melbourne, and there's no one more passionate than Deck. He just absolutely loves them, and all the horses. But he's a real team man, and Dave Eustace up there, and myself and Dave, have been together a while now, and there's a host of other people that riders, track riders, strappers, vets. Shelley, the girl that does all the meds at Ballarat. There's just so much that goes into these horses, day in, day out. They do take a lot of maintenance and a lot of conditioning, but they seem to be the most loved horses in the stable as well.
Well, I tell you what, Kieran, we've got a bottle of champagne. Let's be honest, Jacko, and I think we better toast Kieran because he has had one of the best seasons that we have seen. And little man Jacko, he's nearly drank the whole bottle himself. To be honest, Kieran, tonight he's had a sensational little afternoon. That is for sure. But hey, listen. Here's cheers to you. Congratulations on a wonderful season, and just well done on just the way you support the industry, just the passion you have for it, mate. I think it is absolutely a credit to you, and you've just you've taken it by storm this season again, and full credit to you and your team, mate. Well done.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Kieran.
Well done to Kieran Maher and David Eustace and the entire team. They have had just one for the ages, to be honest. Absolutely sensational. Always great to catch up with Kieran as well. And not only going sensationally well over the jumps, but also on the flat as well. Their team is absolutely flying at the moment, and congratulations and well done. That is for sure. Let's move along now to the champion horse for season 2021. And last year's winner was Gobstopper.
Yeah, he was a magnificent horse, I should say, that Eric Musgrove trained. And if he didn't win the feature races, he was featuring in the placings, which gets your points up, and he was very consistent all season.
I reckon he gave Ronan Short his first feature win too in the Galleywood.
He beat me by a nose.
He did too. He did feature by those.
He did. He gave Ronan a great day in the Galleywood.
Yeah, absolutely. Now this year it was a close race, a close championship between a couple of horses, Saunter Boy and Instigator. But the winner for 2021 was none other than Saunter Boy. And I'll tell you what, did this horse have a sensational season, Jacko? He
did. He's a beautiful horse, and he catches the eye. He's a real. He'd be a favourite of anybody who's watching a race. And a grey always stands out, but he's a white grey, and he jumps magnificent. And loves his racing. I rode him early days in a couple of his early races, and he stays superbly and is a very economical jumper, and he's a very deserved winner because he's been consistent all year. He's won
spot on.
Did he win the Kevin Lafferty? He won the JJ Houlahan, gave Willie Mccarthy a big day out at Ballarat. So he's been super consistent and been in all season, which is a huge effort.
Yeah, one of the rising stars in the jumps racing ranks, that is for sure, and trained none other than by the great man himself and Kieran Maher and David Eustace. And we're going to keep Kieran on that Zoom because, Kieran, you've taken out another trophy, mate. I hope you got a big enough cabinet at home because you are cleaning up these awards today.
Yeah, no, it was a great season, especially for Saunter Boy. He showed that he'd come back really well from his first run on the flat. I think he ran 4th or 3rd, I think it was. And, we knew he was in for a really good year, but, he had some really sizzling wins. I thought one race that I had him pretty right for was the Gallywood, but it wasn't to be. Things didn't go quite to plan, but he bounced back really well next start with a dominant win. And he's just a fantastic horse to train. Really good group of owners, really passionate. Great for the Australian bloodstock. Sent him and other horses down to us. You can see, it's a real sort of banner horse for that. For the jumps racing or jumping, invigorating a horse. You can see his flat form's really improved since he started jumping, and you can just see the I suppose the character and the horse. He's put on weight all the way through the campaign. He was just really happy, and that showed in his form. And probably his toughness too. You've got to give that a bit of credit. I don't think he was quite at his best leading into the JJ Houlahan, but we give him a bit of time between runs, and under a really good steer by Willie Mccarthy, was able to get him home and round up what was a great season for him.
We touched on it a little bit, with you earlier, but Willie McCarthy, he's been a revelation. He's great for the sport, isn't he? He's just, he's a beauty.
Yeah, he is a beauty. He's just a great man to have around the stable. He rides, a lot of track work for us. It's great to reward him, with a ride on a horse like Saunter Boy. And we thought there was no one more fitting to ride Will John when they had the same initials. He's Willie John as well, and we thought we'd put him on Will John, and the pair were a match in heaven. So, he's a great guy to have around, great guy to know, and really good that he had a good season.
And just quickly back to Saunter Boy, I had a bit to do with him early doors and won his maiden hurl on him, and I always found he jumped better the quicker he went. Would you think of switching him over fences and aim for a Broiley or something like that, like a high pace steeplechase race?
Yeah, I think so. As you know, he does have that high cruising speed. He's got that bit of X factor. He's that they don't get to where he's rated on the flat, by not being out of gallop. So he's always got a bit in reserve, and whereas he can put other horses sort of under a bit of pressure. He did used to mix his jumping a little bit, but this year is his second season. I felt he improved all the way through the year. No doubt next season he'll be better again. And like you said, I'd say we'll probably switch him and race like the Briley down at the Bull. There'll be none better the target. Hopefully we can get some of the owners down there.
Good on you, Kieran. Well, I'll tell you what, you've taken all before you this season, that is for sure. The AJRA Champion Trainer, the JJ Houlahan Champion Trainer, and of course, Saunter Boy takes out the champion racehorse for season 2021. The stage is yours, mate. There'll be a few people you'd like to thank.
Yeah, again, just the whole team and all the other award winners, the jumpers, they take a lot of work and a lot of dedication, and everyone that races them has that. It's easy to see. We're fortunate from the Australian Bloodstock boys, Jamie and Luke, that they sent this horse down, and they said there's nothing better than sitting back on a Sunday, having a couple of beers, watching Saunter Boy going around picking up a check every few weeks. So they got a real kick out of it, and as does everybody else. So I'd like to thank all the other award winners, everyone else. I'd like to thank the AJRA, everyone else involved in the industry, and Racing Victoria also, for supporting the jumps racing, and it just seems to be going from strength to strength.
Well, there you go. Kieran Marr, David Eustace, well, they have absolutely cleaned up tonight, that is for sure, Jacko, but so they should. They've had wonderful seasons, and Stevie Payton, the other big winner, and it was really good to acknowledge too the great horsemanship of the grand staff earlier on as well.
It sure was, and don't forget Aaron Mitchell winning that important award we're talking about, the up-and-comer. But yeah, it's a great night. Very deserved winners, I think, and it all just rolls into next year, and we have to look forward and get excited again and think which one of these champion horses and riders are going to be at the forefront. Like you have, like I said, Aaron Mitchell coming through. I think he's going to be big on the scene next year. What about Willie Mccarthy? If he gets to stay in the country, he's going to give Sparky something to think about, maybe. I think we should have the Thanks Be to God award for Willie. He's a very faithful man, but hopefully his prayers can be answered and he can stay, because he landed on the scene with a bang this year.
He's been great for the industry, I reckon, Jack.
Huge, and you need those sort of people and horses then as well. I don't think we mentioned like how exciting Zidane for Hay going into next year after that win in the Grand National steeplechase.
Will John's another one
Will
too.
John, yeah. There's so much to look forward to, and as we touched on, it was a hugely successful season, but I think next season's going to be better again. Yeah,
my oath. And then you got the likes of Tommy Ryan and Aaron Carew, and there's some Ronan Short. There's some great jockeys coming through, and it's just going to be fantastic. It's going to be hard to top this season, to be honest, because it has just been one of the best for mine. The racing has been so competitive, and I touched on it earlier. To win a maiden race, it's actually not that easy, Jacko, is it? They're probably often the hardest race to win, but if you can get through there and you can get into some of those features, some great prize money on offer.
There is, and that's what's exciting about next season, because all those horses are coming through, and they're the ones that are going to be the big timers next season, and hopefully we can get crowds back.
Yeah.
How good would that be if we can get back and just have spectators again, because nobody's going to say that spectators come to watch the jumps races. They do, they love it, and they get down beside the last jump, and if we could get the crowds back, that'd just put the icing on the cake for next season.
Well, that's what makes the May Racing Carnival so special. It's the jumps racing, that is for sure. We must thank our sponsors too. Racing Victoria are great supporters of the jumps racing industry, and E-Cycle Solutions, of course, great to have them on board as well. And the key too is get your pre-sale. The tickets are on sale now for your 2022 memberships. Okay, so you can purchase them via the AJRA website, and we must give a big thank you to Marley Horriban, who does a power of work for the AJRA. She's absolutely sensational. There's plenty of people that are really passionate about this industry, but Marley is super passionate. She does a wonderful job, and she must be commended for all the work that she has done in season 2021 as well, Jacko.
Yeah, for sure, and like you've touched on, it's very important to get online and purchase that AJRA membership, because a lot of the work behind the scenes is done tirelessly and all voluntary, so nobody's expecting to get paid, but it helps everything run if we can get online and pay for a membership, and it can put a few funds towards the things that we need.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what about you? What's in the works for you, mate? We've got no comebacks or anything next year. You happy just riding a few out of track work, Jacko?
Yeah. No, I don't think there'll be another comeback. It will want to be a good one to get me off the bench. But no, I still love it, and look, I'd love to be involved in some part wherever I can help out. I don't know, but I'll be there. I'll be at the trials and I'll be at the races if I can, if I don't have other work commitments. And I look forward to it.
And look, you come out here to Australia to make a go of it, and look at you. You've been successful. You've won a couple of Tommy Corrigans. What a fantastic career you've had, and that's all because of jumps racing, Jacko, which is just fantastic.
That's it, and people look at it as only a small industry, which it is, but it provided a great life for me and my family here in Australia. It really gave us a leg up, and we've enjoyed every second of it. I had a good career back in Ireland, but it went from strength to strength over here, and I was very lucky to be as successful as I was and to meet as many good people as I did, because that's one thing about the jumps racing society. Everyone's very close knit, everyone gets on, and you look out for each other because there are dangers involved, But yeah, everyone looks out for each other, and it's like a big family.
Well, I tell you what, we hope you've enjoyed the award ceremony tonight, and we have celebrated a really magnificent jumps racing season, that is for sure. Congratulations to all the winners. Congratulations to all the participants in 2021. And I tell you what, I'm looking forward to a massive 2022.